Okay, now we're going to jump into our next lesson about using the desktop, wanting to make our desktop a little bit more functional for us. So as I mentioned earlier in the last lesson, you can pin certain programs down to your taskbar here. So essentially what we want to do is we've got a number of programs that we use quite often. Now, if you're like me, the most commonly program that you're going to launch is Internet Explorer or Google Chrome or what have you to get to the internet. So instead of having to come down here, down at the bottom, and clicking on Windows Explorer and having that launch the internet for you, you instead would want to eliminate that down to one click. So the idea behind that is to take the programs that you have here. So if you want to access them, up here, one of your commonly used programs that are going to be accessible for you. But also, if you don't have them showing up, you can get through them by your All Programs menu, and they have all the programs that are installed on your machine. So at this point, we've got two options for ourselves. We can choose to pin it down here at the bottom, which some people prefer to do, as you see that I prefer to do that. Or you can pin it up here on your Start menu, or you can drag it to your desktop. Like I said, I like to keep my desktop clean, but if we wanted to, we can just click on your orb, come up to your Internet Explorer, click and drag, and see how it says Create Link in our desktop as we drag it from the Start menu here. So one of the things that you can do is just click and drag, and you can drag outside of this interface here and release, and it's going to create a shortcut on your desktop. So now you can move it over here, move it to your desktop where you want it, and now I can simply double click on it and it will bring me directly to my the internet. If we got it hooked up here, so we see some Olympic news there. So we can right click on here if we want to, and we can do a quick rename if we want to rename that to make it a little bit cleaner for us, and click outside, and now we just have it saying Windows Explorer there. We are going to see that little shortcut icon, which basically says it's a shortcut, and that allows us to just double click. If you don't like that, let's say, well, you know, it keeps it a little dirty there, you don't like as many items on your desktop, you can just simply left click with your mouse and then press your delete key, and then it will say, are you sure you want to move this to your shortcut? And that will delete it and move it to the recycle bin. And as we can see now, that's changed, and now it's actually full. It's got you know, filled it up there, and we've got a full recycle bin that has our desktop now. If you don't want to do that, maybe you want it here. You know, you can basically left click any of these and you can pin it to your Start menu. So if I want it down here in my Start menu, I can pin it to that. I can take any of these programs here and do the same thing with that. But in some cases, you might want to take your Windows Explorer. Oh, we don't want to launch it here. Take your Windows Explorer icon, or maybe Excel. Maybe you're a heavy Excel user. You can simply click and drag this down here to the bottom, and you can decide where you want to place it. So do that again there. Click and drag here, and decide where you want to place it. Try this one more time. Click and drag, decide where you want to place it. It will move. I like to kind of group my programs together, so I know these are programs here. Release, so I have Excel. Maybe I'm also a heavy Microsoft Office Word, so maybe I'll move this down and it will move that over to the left, or it's kind of the first one, so I'll have that at the beginning. So now I have Word and Excel up there, and now I can basically have those loaded for me if I want to. So all I have to do is just left click once and it will launch the application. So it's eliminated the need to click here, click through my All Programs and find it, and instead have it a one click on my desktop or have it a one click down here. It depends on really how you want your desktop to look. And you can decide that as you go through. So essentially you have two options there. Well, really three options. You can pin it to your desktop, so you can have a little icon over here. You can choose to pin it to your start menu, which is what we see that pops up here, or you can pin it to your taskbar. And as you can see, that's my personal preference. I just like having applications accessible down here at the bottom that I can click on. And if you're using Macintosh, you'll actually notice that that is how they design their interface as well. They have it's a little bit more ornate in terms of what it looks like, but they essentially have the same concept down here at the bottom. You have all your accessible programs. But if you have a lot of programs that you use frequently, that can get a little cluttered. So that's a reason you might want to develop a system like this, that it's a little bit cleaner, not as cluttered. But these are really reserved for your most frequently used applications, and you can move them around if you want to. If you decide one's more important than the other, you can do that, and that's what it's reserved for.